freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your day one recap for the Ryder Cup. Joining me to break it all down, Kyle Porter is here. Hello, Kyle.
Yeah, I am here. I'm about 20, 30 feet behind you there, Rick.
Yeah.
We're in different parts of the media center. Not a great day. Not the day that I woke up at 4:30 a.m. to be out here for. But I don't know. We have a lot to talk about. As one writer that I was talking to said, you're
Hello? I don't know. We're having great issues. Can Josh hear me? Josh, pop in.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. I thought it was my issue.
Well,
Because
on my end,
I had issues on HQ, and Kyle was still going. Now it seems like it's Kyle's issue. Hello, Kyle.
I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. The Italian Wi-Fi is it's no good.
I'm trying to silence
What I was saying,
the U.S. golf media.
Yeah, the corrupt. They're trying to silence the takes. Somebody I was talking to said today, a big U.S. loss would be not content for days, not content for weeks, not even content for months, but content for literally years into the future. So it wasn't an encouraging day, but it was a day for a lot of content to be made, not just today, but well into the future as we talk about this U.S. team.
2 sessions, 8 matches, 6.5, 1.5 in favor of the Europeans. We got off to an early start this morning with Foursome. That did not go well for the Americans. That was a sweep. The first match out, KP, and I want to talk about that first match because it's always an exciting big event on the first tee, was Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton, Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns for the Americans, going with your emotional Jon Rahm, your emotional Tyrrell Hatton in an emotional spot on the first tee of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I mean, Hatton and Rahm were awesome. I thought they were actually – I pulled the numbers here, which I know you might have pulled them too. But Hatton and Rahm were the best European duo in foursomes. They made 4 birdies and an eagle and shot basically 6 under. Some of those numbers might be a little bit off just because of the way they – sometimes you get conceded or whatever. But they were 6 under through however many holes they played, 15 holes I think it was. That's tough to go against. I was not inspired by the Scheffler-Burns duo. Scheffler missed an early birdie, not an easy birdie, but not a long one either, and just felt like downhill from there. The numbers would say they played okay, but I don't know. There was just never any juice there, which I think is going to be a theme as we talk about all these matches.
It's going to be a huge theme. There was no juice there. Sam Burns was bad. Sam Burns was very awful, and I think that it is probably unlikely that we see him until Sunday.
You think he's out all day tomorrow?
What are they going to do? I mean, unless they get swept again in the morning, like what scenario are you putting Sam Burns back out there?
No, I think you're right. I think it's horses only now, right? I think you had, and we can get into this right now if you want. I did not dislike Zach Johnson's game plan. I thought it was it perfect? No. Could you? People were arguing, hey, Scheffler, Koepka, and foursomes instead of Scheffler Burns. There's a bunch of kind of different combinations you could have had. I know you were big on JT Spieth early in foursomes for a variety of reasons, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But I mean, even if you go like 3-1, even if you lose 3-1 in the foursomes, you're fine. Like, you're fine, right? And they just got their asses kicked. Like, they just, and the Europeans were good, but they weren't awesome, right?
No, and so I think there's a couple of things. Even 4-0, like, I think that looks a lot worse than it actually is. They were the Americans were dogs in 3 of those matches. They only lost one match that they were a favorite in. This is a format they've absolutely stunk at in Europe for years. So it's not even that bad to lose 4-0 as long as you can come back and get 2.5 or 3 points in the afternoon, which we'll get to. There was kind of a moment there. It felt that way. It just like. It's just the fact that the 4-0 gives you a lot of freedom for Luke Donald to stay onto the game plan, and the early start, the quick start from the Europeans just put the Americans into zombie mode. There was no juice. They slept walk through this. It was bizarre. It was like a funeral home out there.
It was, and we were just talking off camera, like. I feel like there's a man. They just get over here and they just freaking roll over. You know, like and I know they're used to going everywhere in the world and getting cheered and getting like revered and all these different things, and they come here and they get a few jeers, a few boos, and it's like they just turtle. I mean, is it a are they soft? Like, is it a soft? Like, I don't know, man. Like, there was just and I know this is like very ethereal, and this is like kind of the opposite of what you do, which is like there's no data behind it, but just watching it, being out there, feeling what's going on, and you're like show up, like go out there and like lay it out there, and just nobody did it. Nobody does that.
Yeah, it was bizarre. We were walking out there and it was just like, okay, we're all just watching this movie of the Europeans destroying the Americans, and no one was doing anything to stop it. That second match, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Aberg against Max Homa and Brian Harman, Flusher's only here for the Europeans. They won not only the first hole, they won
for the Europeans,
yes. And this was a little bit of not the passing of the torch, but like Victor coming into his own in his second Ryder Cup, Aberg getting I mean, think about this, right? Guy turns pro 3 months ago, has never played a major championship, is the second group out at a Ryder Cup. It's absolutely bonkers. And I'm assuming we lost KP again, but this was a definitive 4-3 victory for Hovland and Aberg. Spoiler alert, they are going to run this back again tomorrow morning. This was probably the group that was by far like the most popular out there, right? I mean, Victor's like a rock star. Victor's a rock star. Ludwig is like a rock star in the waiting. He's this guy that everybody has built up to be just an absolute star. There you go. Yeah. Well, I think you said it, Josh, right? He played in a Norman Regional and he's played in the Ryder Cup just months apart. It's actually insane. It's incredible stuff. So they get the job done, and from there, I mean, so as that was happening, Josh, Victor, Ludwig are winning hole 1, hole 2. Rahm, they won hole 3. So right there, the first two groups, like, momentum is fully on European side.
Yeah, and Victor, right off the rip, like the short game comes out again. And so he's chipping in, he's fist pumping. He's like 3 holes in, he's fist pumped 3 times already. And you just kind of felt the ball rolling at that point already.
Yeah, he's absolutely feeling it. AP, this Scandinavian squad is trouble.
Yeah, they're a problem. I mean, I think Victor Hovland's the best golfer on the planet right now, which that's always going to be a problem. And I think that he does a really good job he's like made for this moment. Like he does such a good job of embracing it. I actually thought Josh was just mentioning this. It seemed like he was kind of overexerting himself a little bit early. Ludwig seemed like the more kind of almost restrained one, which is crazy to think about for a rookie. But I mean, when Ludwig is making like 20 footers for birdie and Hovland's hitting it like he is, like I don't know. Like what do you want? You know, like that's problematic. Now, I do have the numbers on them. It was so Ludwig and Hovland made 5 birdies and played their foursomes match in 3 under. Homa and Harmon were not good. They made 2 birdies and played 1 over. So they were 4 worse over the course of their match than Ludwig and Hovland were. So again, were the Europeans good? Absolutely. Were the Americans? Did they not really give them a game at all? Also true.
Yeah, Harmon was, I think, a pick to kind of be like this guy who could fly in and be a dark horse, and everybody loved him, and he's going to be a bulldog. Was not there. I did not see much from Brian Harmon.
They're running him back out.
They're running the same thing out.
No, they got JT Spieth.
As they should. Third match out was Straka and Lowry going up against Morikawa and Fowler. This is the one, KP, that the Americans were favorites in. And to be able to get Sepp Straka out as a rookie with a experienced Shane Lowry, and this is basically stealing a point 2-1. This doesn't win you the Ryder Cup, but this is one of the 10 or 12 things that win you a Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton of this match, but you know, if you look at the statistics, both sides made 5 birdies. Lowry and Straka played it in 1 under, and Fowler and Morikawa played it in 1 over. So it was, and obviously you get a result that gets all the way to 17, which was was that the only match that made it to 17 in the morning?
Yeah. Yes. They first match played, they got to 15. Second match got to 15. The last two, no, okay. So the last two got to.
Oh yeah, because Rory almost made a 1 on 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, listen, like I think for me, it's the Fowler Morikawa pairing. Again, just where's the juice? Like, where's the? I don't know. Like
the only guy on this team who will get in your face and say something, whether he's right or wrong, is Justin Thomas.
Yeah. And so they make 2 bogeys in their first 3 holes, I think, and they just kind of fall behind the 8 ball and never really. I mean, they kind of tried to recover, but just were never really able to right the ship. So I don't know. I think one of my takeaways from Friday, Rick, is the Europeans are so easy to root for. Like, they're so likable, they're so fun, and the Americans just kind of like get out there and slog around, and it's like you say you're looking forward to this, you say you love being here, and then it looks like you're like can't wait to be somewhere else, you know?
The Europeans are like a small local company that you root for and you've seen grow, and the Americans are like big fat corporations, and you're just like,
yes.
I don't want to give you my money. I don't like the way it's just soulless. It's really, it was very apparent out there today. I'm not going to say they don't care. Obviously they care, but it just, I felt like I was just watching, and I'm looking around like, guys, are we ever going to do anything? Is anybody going to say anything? Are we going to change? We're just going to go with this then. We're just going to let them do whatever they want to us.
Well, and that's the thing about, I was with JT Spieth in the afternoon. Those guys are talking every moment you can be talking, they're talking.
Yes.
And they're encouraging each other, and they're screaming, and they're yelling at each other, at the fans. It's awesome. It's like what the Ryder Cup is. And there's just none of that from any of the other guys. And I don't know. We will overanalyze this for as long as we cover golf. But there's something to that. And obviously it's fine at home, and you can kind of be protected by the home crowd. But you got to go on the road and like thump your chest a little bit and just don't roll over. They just rolled the hell over in the morning. And now they're down 6.5, 1.5, and that's why they don't win Road Ryder Cups.
Match 4, 2-1. Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood defeat Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. This it got closer late, right? They alternated holes. The Americans won 14, the Europeans won 15. 16 goes to the U.S., 17 goes to the Europeans. So this match got extended kind of a lot longer than we might have thought. In fact, I thought that Cantlay and Xander put up enough to get run back out there in the afternoon, or at least get Cantlay back out there in some capacity in the afternoon. But a very big first win for Rory and Tommy, who vibed quite well together.
Yeah, they did. This match was even. It was 5 birdies on each side. The Euros, I think, were 4 under, and the Americans were 2 under. So fairly even. And as a result, you saw it go to 17. I thought that I actually thought Xander and Cantlay fought pretty well. But again, no juice. It's just like, well, I guess we'll play this match since we're in Rome, you know? Okay. It's just
since we have to be here, I guess we'll play.
Yeah. Rory and Tommy are a blast. Like, they're super fun. They're going out first on Saturday against JT Spieth, which will be awesome. And I thought Rory was like okay today. Like he wasn't spectacular in foursomes or 4-ball.
No, but he hit a couple. He wasn't great, but he did hit like 2 or 3 like statement shots in the morning.
Sure. Yeah.
And then he just gets overshadowed by Fitzpatrick going nuts on the first 9 in the afternoon. So you almost didn't need him to do anything. But you're right. I mean, and what a great sign that is, that you're up 6.5, 1.5, and Rory played like, I don't know, B-. He played all right.
Yeah, he played fine. The shot on 17 was sweet. It was cool, and I think he wanted, like, I think that was an important match for him to. Like, he wanted to win that one against Cantlay and Xander. He knows that those are kind of 2 of the American, like, guys. And if you take them down, even in foursomes, where you're probably supposed to win a lot of matches if you're Europe, that can be a real kind of statement for the rest of the week.
Rory McIlroy made history today. For the first time in his career, went 2-0-0 on Friday at the Ryder Cup.
That's pretty surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best players in the world. This is his 6th or his 7th?
7th.
7th. I think it's 7th. So he has never outright won both those matches.
Well, and it kind of goes to show you, like, we put all this stock in Ryder Cup records. We just got done saying, like, he was okay today, and it's the first time he has 2-0.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's just it's so volatile.
We're gonna get to the afternoon, which was nuts, especially because you get kind of that in-game partnership, the pairings coming out. We'll talk about that, but first we're gonna take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
There's no Belichickery here.
When Sunday football isn't enough.
Dislike that take.
Great take.
That other pregame show will put you over the tops.
I'm all in. Let's go viral here.
Every Sunday, all the insight you need on CBS Sports Network.
And we're back. Okay, KP. So this, like, the end of the morning session, transitioning into the afternoon session, is one of my favorite times because it's very chaotic. The morning matches are ending, and as they're still happening, you're getting the pairings for the afternoon, and like captains have to make in-game decisions. They've got to be out there. It's just like a very chaotic, cool strategy moment. So I love that. So we got the news about the pairings that were going to come out as things were winding down, and to no surprise, with a lot of blue on the board, first group out for the Americans, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, they get Victor Hovland and Terrell Hatton.
Yeah, and it seemed like both teams stuck with their game plan, right? I don't think that they deviated from what they believed they were going to do coming into today. Do you agree with that?
100% on the European side, and I think that is probably also correct. So I don't necessarily agree with everything the Americans have done, but I think they stuck to the plan that they generated.
Yeah. That's because I think the panic play would have been to send, like, if you think can't let Xander back out and maybe don't, I don't know. Like, it just seemed like, hey, this is probably what we're going to do on day one. And then they went out and did it. And then, I mean, the only play is JT Spieth. Like, that's your lead off because, and this is, I was tweeting about this on Friday. The whole reason JT's there is to be the leadoff guy, to get up on whoever they're playing to get like 2 up at the turn and to start doing what he did, which is screaming at the guys behind him, literally screaming at them to follow his lead and put some red on the board. And I just thought there was kind of a 2-hour stretch there where it was like, hey, this is why you picked him, and I don't know if he acquitted himself or not. He missed some putts. He made some putts. He did. He had 2 putts on 16, 17 that if he makes either of them, they win the match. And he missed both of them, but he did make the putt on 15. So he played good. Wouldn't say he played spectacularly, but the whole deal was 15, where he's got the par putt from 7 feet. He makes it. He's staring down the crowd. He's screaming at Brooks and Scheffler back in the fairway, and you're like, this is the whole thing. Like, I know people don't think that like that stuff matters, but I would dare you to come to a Ryder Cup and still say like that stuff doesn't matter, right? Like what was, this is your first Ryder Cup. What was your experience with all that?
No, I agree with you. The more that I do the data stuff and the more that I get into it, the more I'm convinced that data has nothing to do with it, right? You know what I mean? It's like the more you learn, the less you feel like because there is, you get here, and especially in this scenario, we had eyes on this match probably in its entirety between the two of us, and Justin Thomas was literally trying to rile up the crowd, trying to build the juice. I mean, he made a putt, a 2-footer on 9 for birdie that tied the hole, and he's given the crowd the hat tip, and he's trying. It's like, okay, at least someone is trying to get this back going in the right direction, and it doesn't end in a full point. We can talk about if I thought he should have been here and all that stuff, but like it is kind of what you need, especially when your partner. I mean, Jordan Spieth was bad. He gave him no help. I mean, literally was in his pocket the final 4 or 5 holes.
Well, he birdied. So to his credit, he birdied 11, 12, 13, and then JT just kind of took over from there. Because. Because Spieth didn't do anything. I mean, he had one. I'm looking at it right now. He had one counting score. That's when they were both out to the right on 14. They both missed the green.
They both made 5. So right, that's the score that counted. We'll get KP back here in a second. So here's the thing on Justin Thomas for me. KP was saying I should apologize for saying that Justin Thomas shouldn't be on this team. Maybe I should. But when he's on this team, my opinion is that he has to come out and play early in the morning, play him in the afternoon, because if you could have had Justin Thomas out in group number 1 this morning, I'm not saying it would have been a different story, KP, but it would have felt a lot different.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this. I like your argument, and I think I disagree with it because I don't know. I mean, you're probably right, but I think, look, like the hindsight of judging these pairings, it's like, what if the U.S. goes 2-2 this morning, and then you've got JT, screaming and cursing this crowd to a 3-1 victory this afternoon, and all of a sudden the U.S. is leading going into Saturday. Then and he's rested, and then it looks awesome, right? So I think you've brought me around to that take, but I've kind of been pushing back on it a little bit throughout the day.
Yeah, and it's fair. We only get to do this once. We don't know how the other scenarios would have played out. Now, the other side of this, Hatton Hovland, Victor continued to play great. He rolls in a putt on 18, gives us one of the biggest fist pumps we've ever seen from him, and what is going to feel like winning the match. He escapes with half a point.
He's a killer. I mean, he's the best player in the world. He's the nicest. He's the nicest badass in golf history. Like he is turned into this, like, because he's always been talented, right? He turned pro and he was like one of the 10 best ball strikers in the world, but he's turned into like a true assassin, like somebody where if you get him in a singles or even in a one of these foursomes or four ball, you're like, well, crap, like that's not good. Like I don't want Victor today. Man, I loved watching him. He was awesome with Ludwig. He was awesome with Hatton in four ball. And that putt on 18, I was sitting out there and I've got Lowry like rolling around in front of me, just howling at the sky, at the sunset, and you're like, what is this? Like, this is just those guys are so magical in European Ryder Cups, and Hovland was again today.
The next two matches were very much the game plan from Luke Donald. He got Ryder Cup rookies out with experienced players. We'll start with the second match in the afternoon. That was John Rahm shepherding Nikolai Højgaard against Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka. This ends up in a half a point for each side, KP, but there was a lot of back and forth, including each of the final four holes going to one team or another. It ends with John Rahm smashing his second eagle of the last three holes to just magic. I mean, he chipped in on what was that 16?
Yeah.
It's just these moments, right? You just rise to the occasion. You find a way to put the ball in the cup. John Rahm did it twice in the last three holes.
He almost went eagle.
Is there a name for that?
Well, Shane Bacon has denoted the eagle, the American. So if you go eagle, right, eagle, that's an American. I guess if you go eagle, it's a
American turkey.
A super American? I don't know. I mean, what a monster. How many times did you look up and John Rahm chipped in like 5 times today?
Yeah, he I think literally holed out, like, so from off the green at least 3 times. But it felt like every time, especially it was all in big moments, right? He was either in a close match or it was to win a hole. It was, you said it earlier, I mean, it's just killer stuff. It's just so hard to beat these guys.
Well, and it's just like, you get very few. I mean, how many putts do you get to tie or to win a Ryder Cup match? And Rahm just like, it honestly is almost like a magic trick where it just feels like how is this, how can you and Hovland hit these? I mean, I was sitting on 18 and I was kind of down the line from their, more so Hovland's, but I was kind of down the line from both of their putts, and DJ Piehowski was sitting behind me and he's like, is this going in on Hovland's? And I was like, no chance. Like it wasn't even at an, I don't know how it came across on TV, but it wasn't even at an angle that you're like, yeah, I could see like that's a fairly flat putt. It'll probably be close. It was like this windy uphill, just both of them were very difficult putts, and they just buried. I mean, Rahm's was going like 15 feet past, but they both, they just found the cup. I mean, and that's sort of my point, right? Is like their dogs went out and were dogs and did it, and the US's didn't.
How did you like the Scheffler-Koepka pairing? Because Scheffler was the only other one in that 2-hour window of a little bit of U.S. juice. We got like the most juice ever from Scotty. He was yelling back and forth. He was getting it going. How did you like those two playing together?
I didn't see a ton of them. Koepka played like garbage for 15 holes, though, right? He didn't make a birdie in.
There was a stretch, I think it ended up being 10 holes where they didn't use his score at all.
Well, they didn't use his score, and he didn't make a birdie until like 14. And then he birdies 14, he birdies 15, and he birdies 18. But he was disappointing. I mean, you can't have your five-time major winner go out and not make a birdie in 4-ball till 14 on a fairly easy golf course. That can't happen.
McIntyre and Justin Rose get a half a point against Max Homa and Wyndham Clark. Again, that half a point is not going to feel like a win for the Americans because the Europeans won 3 of the final 4 holes, and including when Justin Rose walks off on you and starts pointing fingers, you know you're in big trouble. So another half a point stolen by the Euros here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Homa and Clark were the most solid U.S. team probably for the whole day, like just consistently. But man, they kicked it away at the end. Nobody hits the green on 17. You got it. You have to hit the green and make a 3 there, right? It's not. It's a long hole, but it's not so difficult that one guy should that both guys should be missing the green and making 4. Like you have to make a 3 there. You just have to. I mean, like that's you're not going to win the Ryder Cup if you're kicking away matches like that, right? And
this was the last one to end chronologically, so we were like getting ready for HQ and all that and whatever. Did Wyndham Clark shank one on 18?
I think
into
so.
Into the crowd over there.
Yeah, I mean 18 was, and you just knew that Rose was going to make it, and they were all going to scream and. Lowry was going to be on his back, just howling at the sky. It was a nightmare for the U.S. the whole day.
Well, the final match actually ended pretty quickly because Rory McIlroy and Matt Fitzpatrick destroyed Colin Morikawa and Xander Schauffele, thanks to Matt Fitzpatrick making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies in a row. They won all of those holes, and then McIlroy made a birdie. They won that hole. So the Euros won 6 of the first 7 holes. This was never close.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like the Euros were like Fitzpatrick was out of his mind. I mean, he goes 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, and then Rory puts a 2 on top of him. So they're 8 under through 8, I think. Something just silly. But
yeah.
Again, like the Xander Morikawa, like, does that inspire? Is that inspiring? Are you like, hell yeah, I got to go watch that match? They're gonna be going at Rory and Fitzy all day. They're gonna be yelling and fist pumping. And I know it's not like you don't get points for yelling and fist pumping, but it just is like, it's just kind of uninspiring. I mean, it just did again, no juice at all, and you can't go on the. I mean, these guys get juice at home because there's a home crowd. Right? Like that's where the juice comes from. And they kind of react to that. They kind of play off that. And if you don't have JT here, you have literally no juice. Like there's nothing. And you have to be able to go on the road and generate your own stuff. How many times have we seen Europe try and do or successfully do that against the US? And the US is just unable to do it for whatever reason.
You know who's a juice generator?
I don't know.
Keegan Bradley's a juice generator.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, you're right. Like I might have to issue an apology for that because, like the I mean, part of this got a little twisted because it was like it was almost pitting some of these guys against JT, and you're like, well, no, like I can't have that. Like I can't Jake. I mean, to think today, like imagine JT not being here. That tweet got thrown around a lot, right? Like that's difficult to imagine. But I think the Keegan thing, especially, you're like, okay, well, if you took Burns out of the equation or Ricky out of the equation, like, okay, you can like kind of talk me into that a little bit. I think his season got a little overblown because he won twice, but he wasn't that great over the back half of the season. But you're right. I mean, he is a juice guy, and to take him.
Okay. Well, he is a juice guy, and to take him ... We'll figure out what KP was going to say there. Throw up the morning pairing, Josh. I'm losing my voice. All right, so we got these just a bit ago. These are probably only hour or so live if you're watching live. So here we go. The Europeans are running out the same exact pairings from Friday morning. They are just in a different order. So Tommy, Fleetwood, and Rory McIlroy are going to go out first, with Victor and Ludwig going out second, Lowry and Straka, Rahm and Hatton. So same 8 guys, same pairings, slightly different order. Tommy and Rory are going to get JT and Spieth. So this is kind of what we thought, right? You're running your big dogs out there. JT and Spieth played well enough to get another crack at it. They're going to go out first. They're going to try to take the emotional stance here. Victor and Ludwig are going to get Scheffler and Koepka. Scheffler and Koepka played together in Friday afternoon, got a half a point. Max Homa and Brian Harman are getting the nod again. They played together on Friday morning. They're going to go against Lowry and Straka, and then Cantlay and Xander are going to go up against Rahm and Hatton. So again, Europeans going with the same thing. The Americans are swapping out Morikawa and Fowler for JT and Spieth, and then Scheffler is dumping Burns and replacing him with Koepka. Everything else is staying the same. That means Harman back with Max, Cantlay and Xander back in the lineup. So KP again, Europeans rolling out something, the Americans making a few small tweaks to their Saturday morning session.
Yeah, I mean, I said it in this tweet. Europe's going for the throat, right? They're trying to get to 10 right here, like that's the deal. And I think that, man, I think Rahm is gonna be like. I don't think Cantlay and Xander are going to enjoy playing Jon Rahm tomorrow, right? Like that just seems like a nightmare for them. And I don't know. Do you think Max and Brian Harman were objectively the worst foursomes duo on Friday? Do you think they should roll them back out there?
No. That's the only one. I agree. We were talking about like what are you gonna do? Like what are you supposed to do? There's not a lot of great options, so I'm fine with most of this. I think I would put Wyndham Clark back out there. Wyndham Clark and I mean Colin. I guess I don't know. Colin has some, but there's not a lot of great options. It would have just been Wyndham Clark and somebody.
Yeah, maybe Wyndham and maybe Wyndham Morikawa. Maybe. I mean, Max has to be a little gassed. Who else is who's the other guy sitting?
There's just no time. There's just no time to be gassed. Unfortunately, like it's just like this could be over tomorrow. They could close this out tomorrow.
Yeah, technically they could.
What would happen? Would they play Sunday? So would they celebrate? Yeah. If they swept both sessions tomorrow, they'd be at 14.5. So would they celebrate Saturday night and still play Sunday singles?
Yes, all of the above. Yes.
Yeah, because you have to celebrate, and there's a lot of money in sponsorship. You have to finish it out on Sunday, no matter what.
The Sunday singles would be a mess. It would be a zoo.
It would take about. It would take about 65 minutes to play those matches.
Oh my gosh! Walk me through what's the path? Give me the like. I already tweeted Vince, so it's over. But what is the path to the U.S. getting? Like I need like what is it? Okay, let's work backwards. What does it have to be at going into Sunday where you're like, like maybe?
So you have to split the morning session. And you got to get at least 2.5 in the afternoon, ideally 3. So if you can get 2 and 2, it'll be 8.5 to 3.5, and then you get 2.5 more in the afternoon, so it would be 6. So it would be what, 8.5 to 6? You'd be down. No, that can't be right.
No, 10 to 6.
10 to 6. I think I'd take it. I mean, listen, the path is very, very narrow, but I think I would take that because there are paths in which you are just absolutely drawing dead. A lot of
them. Most of them.
You said it on HQ. The U.S. has won what, 2 of the last 25 foursomes matches in Europe?
20, yeah. 2 of 20.
Are they going to win 3 out of 4 tomorrow?
They're
unlikely.
Not. The best they can do is 2.
Right.
I think you somehow have to keep Europe at like you could maybe talk me into like 9.5. If it was 9.5 to 6.5 going into Sunday, I would listen. I wouldn't be like optimistic, but I would listen. I think if Europe gets to 10 tomorrow, that's it.
Let's wrap with this. Okay, if you are now transformed into Luke Donald's body, you're at the hotel. What is Luke Donald telling his team tonight?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you're just. I mean, he was on that Medina team, right? And so I think he's saying like, don't like take care of business tomorrow morning. Go out and step on their throats in foursomes. This is who we are. This is what we do. We win foursomes in Europe. That's what we do. And if you step on their throats, then everything else kind of takes care of itself. So I think he's reminding them of what happened at Medina and just saying, hey, don't let them get momentum late, like go like Saturday night, you know? I mean, that's what I would tell them. And because there's a scenario in which the Europe gets to like 11 tomorrow, and then it's just, I mean, it's basically they're just setting up the singles for who they want to end it. You know, like who wants to close this thing out. And I think they're going to try to do that. They're going to try to get to 10 or 11 tomorrow and not give the U.S. any momentum going into Sunday.
Okay. Now you're Zach Johnson. What are you telling your team, who for the first time in Ryder Cup history went without a full point in any single match, did not win a match outright, didn't win a match, and is down 5 points after day one? What are you telling your team tonight?
Man, I honestly, like, this would be hard to do because those guys are all peers and they all like there's not, it's hard to have a hierarchy, I think, even in a captaincy, but I'm like probably dropping a few curse words, which I don't usually do, and saying like, do you guys even want to be here? You know, like, do you like let's show some emotion in the morning. Let's not get run over. We murder these guys in foursomes at home. Like, we own them in foursomes. We can do that here, but you have to like show some intestinal fortitude, shut some people up, tell them about it, and get us to 4 balls in the afternoon.
I always imagine these scenarios where they have like pre-cut like motivational videos or like whatever something that Zach Johnson needs to show tonight, good, bad, indifferent, like it's at his disposal. I feel like they've pre-cut that stuff, but yeah, I mean, this is got to be, there's got to be a wake-up call tonight.
Yeah, I feel like Europe is so good at just seeing the big picture and like embracing it. And it feels like the U.S. is just like, oh, we're just, you know, trying to get to the next thing, and it's just, I don't know. Like, it. Did you feel that today?
Admittedly, it was a very bad feeling out there. It was. Everyone knew it. It felt like the Europeans knew they were going to run the Americans over. The European fans knew they were going to run everybody over. I honestly
the
felt
Americans
like
knew it.
Yeah, it was like I was literally watching a movie. Like, it was an out-of-body experience. Like, I guess this is how it goes. Like, that's how it felt. There was just no resistance. There was no juice. Again, I will stop short of saying they didn't care, because I believe that they do. But it's like, it's that vibe. It's just like,
yeah,
if it happens, you know, if we get smoked, we get smoked. Like, whatever.
It kind of, yeah. And I'm not saying that they don't care. I think they care a lot. I think they care about the Ryder Cup. I think they genuinely, for the most part, like each other. And like, there was a good vibe throughout the week, but it's like, at some point you have to have somebody who like puts a stake in the ground and says like, hey, hang on here. Let's go do this. And they just, I mean, JT tried, but it's got to be more than that. You know, think about even Hazeltine, when Rory's like bowing and screaming at Reed and like, you know, all this different stuff. And it's like, that gives your team a little bit of hope, you know, it gives them something to hang on to. And there's just a lack of that for the U.S. on the road, and that's something that until they get that, I just don't really believe that they'll win a Ryder Cup in Europe.
Well, a lot of work to do, especially on Saturday, because if they don't do that work on Saturday, there is absolutely no chance of it happening on Sunday. So anything else, KP, or are we going to go to bed and do it all again tomorrow?
We're going to catch this 9:30 shuttle here in a little bit and do it all again tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a little different than today.
Okay, shuttle time. Kyle Porter, available on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. Producer Josh doing all the hard work behind the scenes in many different time zones this week. Thank you very much. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.